Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Plugged In featuring myself. So we thought we'd change it up a little bit. We don't want to do every week with interviews. We're still in the testing phases. I don't want to say we 100% know what we're doing because we don't. We've got now better sound, better video, etc., etc. And I was kind of thinking of a topic that I actually wanted to talk about. And next week we'll probably continue on with interviews and some other things. But this week I wanted to make it a bit more personal, and I want to speak about my journey building a business. There's millions of people out there who are successful talking about how fucking great they've done and how they went through the struggle, etc., etc., etc. And I'm kind of like, I'm in the stage where I'm building a business and I'm going through the struggle. I'm not there where I want to be yet. And I think it's really interesting to kind of just talk about that journey and talk about what those struggles are. I kind of want to share with you my failures and how difficult it's been to get to this point now, nearly doing full-time music. Where I basically want to get to. So I simply want to share basically how I started off. And kind of what my ambitions are. I mean, one of my main goals is to be one of Australia's best music pop producers. That's really, something I don't share with a lot of people, but I'm happy to share it now. And it's true that it kind of gets to the point where you don't care anymore what people think. You have to get to that stage where you just go for it and do it and not give a shit what people are going to say. And I honestly don't care anymore. There was a point at the start of last year where I needed a kick up the butt by a mentor of mine called Tony Mansell. People know him as Jack the Bear. And he basically just told me to take the studio out of my house and just get into a professional recording space. And that might work for some people and maybe not for others. But for me, that just really kind of took it out of the bedroom and turned it into a business. So I started 6 years ago on my journey to produce music. I basically was a performer my whole life, and I had a few $1,000s. I went to, I think it was A-Wave and Store DJ, which is in Melbourne here, and I bought my first setup. And I had no fucking idea what I was doing, but I basically was just over ambitious, and I said to myself, unrealistically, I'm going to give myself 6 months to a year to make it. And I didn't really understand what that entailed, and it was an absolute shitload of work. And I'm 6 years in on the journey and not even close to where I want to be. And I guess that's the thing about being ambitious, that you'll never get to the place you want to be. You're always going to be ambitious and driven for more. And I think that's a really great thing to have, as long as it doesn't create kind of a negative energy around what you're doing. You want it to be able to motivate you and push you forward and not actually hold you back. So I started in my room. I was there some days 10 to 12 hours a day, literally sitting in front of the computer, figuring out how to use all these things. And at the time, I didn't have anyone to help me. I had no one to offer me value, no one to kind of, give me a kick up the butt to tell me how it's done. And I guess YouTube, it was really minimal, the kind of stuff that was out there in order to get help. So what I did initially was I hit up, all the music producers and music studios in Melbourne. I'd say about 90 to 95% of people ignored me. And all I was asking was like, can you please let me in the studio? I'd love to just watch what you're doing. I'm happy to serve coffee. I really just wanted to be a fly on the wall and get experience to know what people are doing and how I can get better. And I had one person who actually hit me back through the emails, and his name was Jimmy Moradis, or Moradis. I'm sorry, mate, if I didn't pronounce that correctly. I haven't actually met him yet, but he was recommended through a mate I was doing some singing stuff with, and told me to get in touch with Jimmy. And the one thing that stuck with me that Jimmy said is, Spike, take your time and, slowly rise, because it's going to make it much harder for you to inevitably fall. And, he was saying that put in the work and do your time, and you're going to stay at the top a lot longer. And I've had people, close friends and people that are in the industry. It's really volatile. It's up and down. you can be hot and then you're not. And that's exactly what I don't want to do. I really want to make a strong foundation. This year, I'm trying to build a really strong music community. I'm going to be putting events together at the first Sunday of every month for people who are working with me or have worked with me or who want to be affiliated in my circle of what I'm trying to offer and what I'm trying to do. And all that is I'm trying to make a community for people who are trying to make it, for people who are trying to build, for people who are failing and want to share their stories with others, to collaborate together, and for all of us to be able to basically get to where we want to go and share those stories. You know, again, like I've watched Gary V's, and you know, everyone's watching Will Smith at the moment, and he's just so full of knowledge. It's really exciting to watch. But these are all people who are hugely successful, and I'm not taking away, you know, any of their hardship for a second, but I think it'd be really interesting to actually see how fucking hard it is for people in the moment. And they're things I want to share with you now. You know, last month I had the worst month I've ever had in my business. I've only been running my business since the start of last year. Something I'm trying to build. I'm so passionate about it. I work sometimes 6 to 7 days a week. I take 1 day a week to spend time with my family. It's really challenging and it's really hard, and I have no one else to really kick me up the butt anymore except for myself. I have to be disciplined. I have to wake up. I try to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and I don't make it all the time. But you know, this idea of failure, I think you only fail if you quit, and that's something that I've never done. You know, I'm never going to quit. So I don't care if this takes me 6, 7 years, or if it takes me 10, 15 years, I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be doing this. And I thought, fuck it, I'm at a point where I remember how difficult it was for me. I want to offer value to the community, and I'm here to offer value to you guys. So, you know, I want you to be a part of this. It's not exclusive to Spike Leo, but I just want people who are really dedicated to the process, who are serious. I don't want people who are time wasters, who are like, oh, you know, this seems kind of cool. It is kind of cool, but it's also really fucking hard, and it takes so much dedication. I had a kind of half my life as a performer, and I dedicated all my time and attention to that. And this is kind of the next dream. And I've been putting all my attention to basically becoming a music producer. I'm working with some great people. So tonight I'm holding an event. We're gonna show that the following week on our episode of Plugged In. It's gonna be with a small clan of people that I really love working with, who are really inspirational and motivated. And that's basically it, guys. So we're gonna do a little bit more of this kind of thing. I'm gonna be sharing my story. I'm gonna be sharing how fucking difficult it is. You know, no one likes to talk about all the shit things. You just kind of, you hear about people obviously when they're successful, when they're working with that artist or earning this money, etc., etc. I'm not earning that money yet. I'm not working with that artist yet, but I'm gonna try as damn fucking hard as I can to get there. And I'd love you guys to be a part of the journey. So make sure you like and subscribe. That's it for this week on Plugged In. I hope you got a little bit of value and inspiration from this video. Just having the attention of you guys, and you guys communicating with me and wanting to be involved with this journey, and me being a part of yours as well, that really gives me a lot of motivation and keeps me really inspired. Like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next week on Plugged In. That's it for today. Thanks, guys.